Happy holidays, everyone. Hey, before today's show gets started, I wanted to make sure that you knew our 2019 gift guide was recently published. Visit theproducemoms.com/gift for dozens of gift ideas, all featuring some of our favorite produce department items. Merry Christmas and happy holidays from everyone at the Produce Moms. Enjoy today's show. Welcome to the Produce Moms Podcast, where we believe there is a produce mom in all of us. I'm Lori Taylor, founder and CEO of the Produce Moms. For 10 years, I sold fresh produce to over 300 grocery stores in the U.S. And today, my team and I are fully focused on inspiring people to eat more fruits and vegetables. This show is just one of the ways that we hope to inspire you and your family to eat more produce and live a better life. If you like what you're hearing on the podcast, join our community of almost 40,000 in all 50 states and over 30 countries by visiting theproducemoms.com/subscribe. And be sure to subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes. Thanks for being here. Enjoy today's show. Welcome back, everyone. Today on the Produce Moms Podcast, we are welcoming Kate Evans. Kate is a faculty member at Washington State University. She is a professor in the Department of Horticulture. For those of you that are following along with all things fresh produce right now, you probably know where this conversation's headed. That's right, folks. We are talking about the Cosmic Crisp apple today on the Produce Moms Podcast. I could not be more excited. I know Kate could not be more excited. She has been just instrumental as, leading up Washington State University's apple breeding program. And it's just a true joy to welcome Kate to the show today.
Thank you so much.
No, this is going to be great. So Kate, please tell us about your background. Tell us more about the Washington State University Tree Fruit Research and Extension Center and what you do there.
Sure, yeah. So you can probably tell from my accent that I'm not local. I grew up and did all my education in England before I came over to Washington. Was employed here at the WSU Tree Fruit Research and Extension Center, which is really a tree fruit focused entity full of faculty that are researching multiple aspects of tree fruit, both sort of from the horticultural aspect, how to grow the trees, how to store the fruit, etc., and then also pathology and entomology, so diseases and pests of tree fruit. And here, when we're talking tree fruit in Washington, we principally focus on apple, pear, and cherry. The other side of what we do here at the center is that we ensure that the results of the research that we do are communicated out to our industry via our extension faculty. So in addition to that, we also educate the next generation of researchers and industry members. And so we have approximately 14 graduate students that are based here out in Wenatchee all the time. So it's a fairly vibrant center with 13 faculty members.
That's
my
great.
role out here is currently I have the fun job of being the interim director, so I get to sort of oversee the entire center. But from a scientific perspective, the thing that I do is to lead the apple breeding program. So that takes up a fair amount of my time, particularly at the moment when we're in the midst of this really exciting release of Cosmic Crisp.
Oh, and exciting is like understatement of the year. Let's talk a little bit about, how long Washington State University has been working on this apple. I mean, I know just from a consumer perspective, Kate, as well as someone who is so passionate and employed in, within agriculture. I mean, goodness, I've been anticipating this apple for at least 2 years. And so it's here. I mean, I'm so excited about it. But tell us a little bit more about how long you all worked on Cosmic Crisp and just in general, the process of how new apple varieties are bred and selected.
Sure. Yes, it's a slow old process, and for those of us who are in the midst of it, we don't tend to think of the timeline so much. But when you tell people 20 plus years, there tends to be that sort of freak out moment of how could it possibly take so long? What we do to breed a new apple is it's very really very simple. We choose 2 parents based on kind of targets. What is it that we're looking to improve of those parents? And we take pollen from one variety, pollinize the stigmas of the flowers of the other variety. So it's sexual reproduction. It's male and female. That's pretty simple. And what we, as the breeder, what we want is the seed that are produced as a result of that cross. So the seed is the thing that is the kind of really the exciting part of when new potential varieties are created. So every single seed in an apple is different. They're genetically unique. And a bit like in human perspective, if you have the same 2 parents in your family and your siblings are similar to you but not identical, that's the same with us when we make a cross hybridization between 2 apples. So the seeds that come out of that cross are all related because they have the same 2 parents, but they have a sort of a mixing or a segregation, we call it, of the characteristics that they've inherited from their parents. So fundamentally, after we've done that, everything else in the breeding program is about evaluating what those seeds then become, the trees that they become and the fruit that they produce. And we go through 3 phases of evaluation and selection in the breeding program to really kind of hone it down to find the best individuals that we want to take forward and release as varieties.
I love it. That's amazing. And let's talk a little bit about specifically the Cosmic Crisp journey. Recently I had the extreme pleasure of attending the kickoff events that took place in Wenatchee, where you live and work, Kate. And I had the opportunity to meet Washington State University professor Bruce Barrett, and goodness, his knowledge and passion for Cosmic Crisp and the research that he was at the helm of. And now you are, at the helm of the project right now. Please, Kate, tell us more just about the Cosmic Crisp journey from, the research that Bruce started to where it's at today, now that, it is launched. It's in the grocery stores.
Sure. Yeah. So as you say, Bruce started the breeding program itself back in 1994, and he made that cross hybridization in 1997 that produced the seed that then went on to grow into the original Cosmic Crisp tree. So if you were out at the launch, you'll have been sitting by the mother tree itself. That tree came from a seed. It might seem a little bizarre, but that's what we were looking for in the program. We're looking for a lot of different seeds producing a lot of different individuals, and that the evaluation that was done by the apple breeding program team, led by Bruce in those early years, was focused in and identified that particular individual tree as something that was producing fruit that was kind of interesting. Then the tree was propagated to make more trees of the same thing and planted out in 3 different sites. More evaluation because there was more fruit. And then by the time I came into the program, which was 2008, that selection that became Cosmic Crisp was just in the process of being moved into the 3rd phase of evaluation, where we typically try and have only about somewhere between 5 and 10 different individual selections, so different potential new varieties, but we put in the ground maybe about 50 trees or so, and in a few different sites, and that means we can get bins worth of fruit instead of just a few boxes. And for us in the evaluation system, we're always limited by the number of fruit that we get. So once we get to that point and we've got great big bins full of fruit, we can do a whole load more evaluation. And really my role, I guess, in this whole story was in that 3rd phase, where we're seeing really whether the apple is robust enough to succeed. And that means, is it going to last through refrigerated storage for
Sure.
months,
Right.
and will it work in a packing house situation where fruit goes through a sorting line and kind of gets moved around, and is it robust enough to deal with that, and is it the kind of tree that a grower would like to work with in the orchard? So that kind of evaluation is all part of that phase that for this particular apple I was running. But also I kind of got to do some of the fun stuff as well. It's the first time we moved out and did some consumer testing. And that's when you start to get some real validation of the fact that, well, yeah, actually we have selected a really great apple here, and getting consumer feedback about that product was really exciting.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. I mean, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Uh, to taste Cosmic Crisp is to love Cosmic Crisp. So it's it's really, really exciting. So as you talk about being the heartwarming nature of being part of this consumer testing, I'd love if you could share a little bit more about how Cosmic Crisp performed with consumers in this consumer testing. What were some of the comments that stuck out to you?
Yeah, sure. We started out actually doing a kind of head-to-head tasting of the Cosmic Crisp apple with Gala, because Gala's our industry standard. It's still our number one volume produced apple out of Washington. And we did the results of Cosmic Crisp versus Gala at that point were fantastic. I mean, really, we were getting consumers to rate their preference for appearance, taste, and texture, and then overall, and super solid results in terms of overall preference. The answers we then got when we put forward our results to the industry, it was well, okay, that was Cosmic Crisp against Gala. How would it do against Honeycrisp? So we did it again with Honeycrisp, and again we got some fabulous results that really showed that, particularly as the storage season progressed, we started to get some really clear preferencing for the Cosmic Crisp apple. So we were not getting any specific comments. We were after numbers. It's a scientific game still, and really we want to have numbers of preference,
Sure.
for the different characteristics. So
you want that 5-star rating. You want people to rank it as their number one. Is that what you mean?
We do. Yeah. We want to be able to show, from a scientific point, it's significant preference of consumers for this apple against others.
You know what they call it, Kate? The apple of big dreams. So
right. Yeah.
No, I love it. We should probably make sure that all of our listeners understand exactly what the Cosmic Crisp is. You mentioned that you put it up against the Honeycrisp. Well, anyone who's a Honeycrisp fan, you're gonna love to hear that Honeycrisp is actually one of the parents. So, Kate, please explain the two varieties that were crossed.
Sure. Yeah, that is a good point. So Honeycrisp was the pollen parent, so the male parent for the Cosmic Crisp apple, and the female parent was a variety called Enterprise that comes out of a program from Purdue, Rutgers, and Illinois. So it's a US variety, and it's not really a kind of a big production variety, but it has a lot of positive characteristics. It's pretty. Really nice appearance, and it stores well. Also has some disease resistance, which is kind of interesting. So and combining the two.
Those traits are certainly important to consumers, but my goodness, they are so important to farmers.
Right. Yes. Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. Production traits you have to take into account when you're looking at a new variety. It's got to work for the farmers. It's a business.
Right, right. Yeah, I mean, they're the original. They are the big risk takers here. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, no, it's this is exciting. So, I remember the first time I tasted Cosmic Crisp. It was a gift to me from one of my friends, Catherine Grandy, who is also serving as the creative lead for the consumer marketing campaign to promote Cosmic Crisp. And I will never forget that first bite I took of a Cosmic Crisp apple. What really stuck with me was that snap, that crunch when you take that first bite of Cosmic Crisp. Of course, the flavor's there, but that crunch and that snap for me, when I bit into the Cosmic Crisp for the first time, was, for someone that loves produce the way I do, it really is a moment. I don't think I will never forget that moment because it was so profoundly different from every other apple variety that I have ever tasted in such a positive way.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, that's really interesting. And I was kind of trying to think back to, do I remember the first time that I tasted it? And, if I'm absolutely honest, I don't. But what I would say to qualify that is that I taste a huge number of apples, and I've been doing this for 28 years now. And so, what I would say is that it was one of what was originally just many interesting selections, bearing in mind kind of when I came into this program in 2008. But it really started to shine when we did more and more careful evaluations of samples over time. And this was the apple that just stood out.
Right.
And it continued to stand out, not just to me, but to my whole team. It would always be the one that, even though we might have tasted basically a fruit lab full of fruit,
Right.
we could still manage to kind of go back and have that extra bite at the end of the day.
I love that. So what are some of the key qualities of the Cosmic Crisp apple that you would like our listeners today to be aware of?
Yeah, I think you kind of summed up a lot in terms of its texture, but
Right.
I think it's really the juiciness that stands
Mm-hmm.
out with a Cosmic Crisp apple. It's fairly unusual to have an apple that is just that juicy. And I know Bruce quite often, he kind of laughs. It's people do the bite, and then that's the sort of wipe of the chin because they're kind of not expecting it to be so juicy.
You're right. You're right. And I like that you use the terminology juicy. There is a difference when you're eating fruit between juicy and watery. And I have had apples that I would say almost to have that watery experience because they might be, you bite in and the difference though between watery and juicy is the flavor. And so I love that you describe it as juicy and that, I can just picture people, and I know that I've done it myself. You bite into it and you like need a napkin because it's dripping down your face, but it's at the same time, it's like the flavor is so good on the Cosmic Crisp. And I really think that the way the flavor is balanced between both sweet and tart, it does not matter where you land with your consumer preference on the spectrum of apple flavors. I mean, we have tart apples, we have super sweet apples, and then we have the Cosmic Crisp, which is like the best of both worlds.
Yeah, and the other thing that I really like about it, and the more of them you eat, the more you sort of get to know it. But sometimes, when you eat an apple and you're chewing, having taken a bite, and you're chewing, and it can kind of just, the flavor dissipates, and you're kind of left with a fairly boring mouthful. And it's not like that with a Cosmic Crisp apple. It continues to taste great while you're chewing, but also even the next bite and the next bite and the next bite, it's still it's every bite is a really great experience.
It is. And another thing that we need to talk about is just how beautiful the apple is itself. When it's on shelf or when it's in your fruit bowl at home. Everyone listening today, we all know we eat with our eyes first, like sight and appearance. Like that's why, food styling is such a thing. Well, you don't need to food style the Cosmic Crisp apple because the Cosmic Crisp apple in and of itself is a very beautiful piece of fruit, almost exotic looking in the fact that it's so deep red and it's got these lenticels on it. And, Kate, please describe to our listeners what the Cosmic Crisp looks like and how that appearance led to the name.
So yeah, it's a bicolored apple, which means that it is anything really from 50% red upwards. So it can be much redder than that. And it's a really lovely, attractive, deep shade of red, reminding people of the images that you see of that sort of background color of the cosmos, with then the little stars all over it are these white lenticels, which are pores in the peel of the apple. And that's how it got that cosmic name. Was we had some consumer focus groups that were run by a fabulous colleague of mine, Dr. Carolyn Ross from the School of Food Science at WSU. And in one of the early groups, somebody said, hey, it just really reminds me of the cosmos. They look like stars. And the more you kind of look at it, then you think, oh, actually, yeah, I can see where they're coming from. And that cosmic name really just totally came from that appearance. And
it's the perfect name. It's the perfect name for this apple. So, I've got to ask you, since I've got you on the Produce Moms podcast, Kate, what is your favorite way to enjoy this apple? Obviously eating it raw, but have you tried cooking or baking with it, or any favorite recipes you want to share with our listeners today?
I have to say my favorite way to eat it is raw, just fresh, taking a bite or with a piece of cheese. It's a great combination.
Hey, Cougar Gold cheese, right?
Absolutely.
Go Cougs.
However, quite recently, one of my sons was making apple pie, and he did a pretty good job making a decent Cosmic Crisp apple pie. So, it does bake very well.
Oh, it bakes tremendously. And I think also all of our listeners are going to love, especially this time of year with all the holiday entertaining and the festive nature of even just a simple meal at home, when the home's decorated. It's like, I always elevate everything. But one of the ways I love to serve the Cosmic Crisp is just fresh slices on a charcuterie board. To your point, Kate, adding some of that Cougar Gold cheese or any of your favorite cheeses with this apple.
Right.
This apple is very naturally slow to oxidize or brown. And I think that is such a great characteristic of the apple as well.
Yeah, and I think that super white flesh that it has, when you combine that with the skin, the appearance of the skin, it really adds to just the whole sort of vibrancy of slices of fruit on a tray. Yes. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it really is. Well, I couldn't be more excited for everyone at Washington State University, all of the growers, everyone involved, from PVM to the state of Washington to consumers like me where it's like, yes, the Cosmic Crisp is finally at my grocery store and I can enjoy it and bring it home with me. This is just truly an exciting time for all of us. So we have a tradition on our show. I mean, I'm so thankful that you came on and shared your insight and educated all of our listeners on the way this amazing apple came to be. But Kate, our tradition on this show is you actually get the final word in the closing remarks. So I'll throw the mic back to you for our final goodbye to everyone. And again, thank you so much for tuning in to today's show. Everyone, please visit and connect with Cosmic Crisp. They are on all social media platforms. Their handle is The Cosmic Crisp. You can find them online, cosmiccrisp.com. And Kate, please sign us off today.
Yeah, so thanks so much for having me on the show. It's great to be able to come talk about the Cosmic Crisp. And, what I'd say to everybody is there's so much excitement out there right now. Get out and try an apple. See what you think. I hope that you love it.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Produce Moms podcast. If you or someone you know would like to be a featured guest, just send an email to Lori@theproducemoms.com. We know there is a produce mom in you because there's a produce mom in all of us. Join our community on Facebook and all social platforms. Help us change the way America eats. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.